So the Knicks win their first 7 games at home. One of the best starts in Knicks history. The boys in orange and blue went on a 5-game winning streak. We're going to talk about some of the biggest storylines from Karl-Anthony Towns not knowing his role to taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics, the teams that swept us last year. Who's hot, who's not. We're going to talk about that and more on this episode of the Knicks and 10 Show. Welcome to the show. I am Karan Pierre, the Objective fan, and I'm straight out of Queens County, New York City's finest, and you know the vibes. So, definitely tell a friend, we live. We are in members only mode. Salute to my man HRM the Great. I see you in the building. If you're not a channel member, you still can watch this show. You still hit that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. So this is the Knicks and 10 Show, okay? I'm going to break that down in a second. Salute to my man, HRM the Great. I see you in the building early. I got the show started. Salute to, all of the people that's in the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server. Sorry I had to push the show back tonight, but I had a lot going on. So, and I didn't want to cancel the show because this is a very important show. So the Knicks and 10 Show is a show that pretty much tracks the Knicks each, 10 games at a time. We're going to be going throughout the season. We're going to notice patterns. We're going to notice trends. I'm going to break all that down. But I just want to explain it for those of you guys that don't know what the Knicks and 10 Show is all about. I also will be going through some of the elements of the 82 Nights, a basketball fan's companion journal. There's a section in here called the 10-game review. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. If you're a channel member, feel free to take advantage of your discount. Members get an additional 20% off using the code that's in the membership section of the channel. So you could go there and get that. And I'm just gonna jump into it. I got everything, the slides pulled up. Let's go. Bam. So this is the Knicks and 10 Show. All right. And so we're just gonna push through it. Okay. So this is what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to review the first 10 games, like I said. We're going to break down the overall records, identify the good wins versus the bad losses, right? The first 10 game standing positions, of course, stats and all those great things. I came up with a new name for myself. I am Stat Master Miyagi. That's my new AKA alias. Stat Master Miyagi, okay? We'll identify the team identity, performance tone. We'll get to that in the storylines. And of course, like I said, the key themes. And basically, sorry about that. And basically, you're going to get a deeper understanding for what is going on with these New York Knicks, all right? Like I said, I'll be going through the journal. I'm still on the mock-up right now because I just, might as well make use of it. But let's go. So I'm going to start here, right? The 2024-25 season. So we're going to be making a lot of references back to that season. I got my old notes here as well. And so this is where we were last year. Just taking you down a brief trip of memory lane, okay? Now, last season, we was 5-5. And, people were jumping out of the deep end. So salute to us for at least getting to 7-3. Oh, and also I forgot to also add, I am not talking about the Magic game. Okay? I am not talking about the Magic game. Hold on. Let me I figure out where to put my camera. I'll just be moving it around. Okay, cool. So you can see the snapshot. So I'm not talking about the Magic game. I'm talking about everything that happened up to the Magic game. So when you're watching this video, we're 7-3. Okay, just for the record. Okay, cool. So this is what happened last year. You know, we had 2 good wins. A good win how I qualify good win is when you beat a team that's 500 and above. We beat Indiana last year. They were 500. And we also beat Miami, who was 500 last year. But then we had a bad loss to Atlanta, who wound up, I think they were teetering between above 500, below 500. But when we lose to a team like Indiana, like Atlanta at the time, and they had a below 500 record, I consider that a bad loss, right? Because have been the Knicks team that has dominated sub 500 teams in the last couple of years. Last year we were 32-7, and the year before that we were 33-5, right? And I'll double check that standing. All right, so this is how we did. So, and you guys know, I'm gonna fast forward to this year. We wound up going 7-3, right? And we had a tough stretch because last season we hadn't lost 3 games in a row. I think until, hold on, let me pull it up. Because we don't do no freestyling on here. We hadn't lost 3 games in a row until January. So unfortunately, this year, our first 3 losses came in the beginning of the season. But we also won 5 home games, or just home games or not, 5 games in a row to bounce back and finish strong. Salute to the boys in orange and blue for getting those 5 wins. It was major, and I'm going to explain it why a little bit later. And of course, our 2 good wins was against Chicago, who at the time was a top team in the East, and we'll get to the standings, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, who I think is a good team in the West. And if I have time, I explain why I say that. All right, so this is the 10-game snapshot. No bad losses in the first 10 games. And we got some good news on Brunson. I'm going to probably do an injury video on Brunson after this show. And because, we got some good news. It was just a grade 1 sprain, which is something I'm happy to hear. And I will explain that. Look out for that video. I'll probably drop it first thing in the morning. Anyway, let me continue pushing through. So this is how the season has gone thus far. Okay. All right. So let me keep it moving. All right. Just giving you guys a snapshot of the 10 games we're talking about. Once again, we're not talking about, I got to reiterate, we're not talking about the last game against the Magic. So this is the standings at the time. I took a snapshot of where we are. And salute to all the people who watched my last video. I think it was the last video I dropped where I talked about the stat that proves the Knicks are elite in the East. Well, at the time I did that video, our differential was an 8.7 or 8.6. With that last win that we just had, which was, hold on, get that up there. The last win against Memphis is what put our differential it boosted it up to 9.1. Okay. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what differential is, I'm going to explain it. Okay. Differential basically is the difference between points per game, which you score, and opponent's points per game. Right. Now, the reason why differential is such an important stat, and to me is the second most important stat behind wins, is because all of the teams who have a great differential usually have great success in the playoffs, usually are the cream of the crop of the conference. And right now, well, not right now, because we dropped a bit, we still lead the Eastern Conference in differential, right? Which means a lot, even though we took that loss to the Magic. But right now, forget that because we're sticking within our time range here. Right now, this is showing that we are more dominant than the rest of the teams in the conference, even though Detroit has the better record. Detroit, to me, is looking similar to what the Cleveland Cavaliers was last year. And hold on, let me see if I could reposition the camera a bit. Bam, let me put myself here. It seems like Detroit is last year's Cavaliers because they, with the exception of the Cavaliers last year had a really good differential at this point in time. They had like a 10, it was in the 10 point range last season. But Detroit, they're dominating the teams that, they're supposed to. They beat some, they had some tough touches. They had a bunch of sub 500 teams they beat, not to discount them, but with the competition they faced, I feel like their differential should be higher. That's another topic. Okay. But you can see we are 5-3 in the conference, 2-0 against the Western Conference, which is a big deal because last year, if I could give you a quick rundown. So last year in the first 10 games, we didn't play against the Western Conference. So it's no comparison there. But if we can dominate, Western Conference opponents, I take that. So we're 2-0 against the West Coast. At home, 7-0, which was the best in the conference at the time. And it's still the best in the conference. We're 7-1 right now, still the best in the conference. But let's stay here. I keep going back to that game. I won't do that again. Right? And just pure dominance thus far is what we've seen during this stretch from the Knicks, except those 3 games they lost. Right? Now, we only had, I'll get to that later. Let me just make sure I covered everything in the standings. Last year, we were 5-5. I don't have last year's table up there, but I'll be referencing it just so we could, compare where we are and make sure that, we get a fair comparison to see how we fare going forward. So 2 seconds as I look through my notes. By the way, if you just joined this show, this is the Knicks in 10 show. Feel free to, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. Not just so you could join this chat, but it comes with a lot of good perks. The reason why I'm in members mode, because I want to move fast and it's late. And I also want to make the replay value pretty good. So last year we were 5-5 and our differential was 4.1. And we still had the 3rd best differential in the East. And just to fact check myself, Cleveland had a 12-point differential last year. Okay. And Boston had 9.5. We were 3rd with 4.1. And the Orlando Magic was 4th with 3.7. But they had a better record than us at this time. They were 6-6 when we were 5-5. So let me just push forward. Okay. So let me get to the next slide. All right. So I'm gonna jump into some of these rankings here, and there's some comparisons I want to make for last season. Right. And by the way, if you are a member, you have a question, feel free to drop it. Or if there's a stat that you're curious if I'm going to cover it, I'm going to cover a lot of stats, and I'll be working through this journal here. Okay. Be working through this journal here. One section in particular, well, multiple sections, the stat trackers, but also the 10-game review section. I call it the Knicks in 10. That's what the title of this show is all about. Hold on. Let me just make sure I don't bury my notes. All right. Cool. So let me back out of here. So a couple of these stats that stand out. Now, the yellow highlights, and let me make sure the viewing, okay. Yeah, I'm in a good position. Yeah, I'm not blocking nothing here. So the yellow highlights are like numbers that we excel at, rankings that we excel at. The blue numbers is where we're kind of lacking, okay? And so I will be comparing it to last year's first 10 games and just showing, just giving us a blueprint of where we are and where we were. And I might even throw in some current, the last year total standings as well. But I just want to give a snapshot of where we are in history because I feel like it's just important for us to analyze. So on the good side, I'm going to start with some of the positive stats. Now, last year, Coach Tibbs said that he wanted us to shoot 43s a game. Well, guess what? Mike Brown has us shooting well over 43s a game. We're at 44 attempts a game. And during this 10-game stretch, we were third in the league. First in three-pointers made with 17 a game. And then 6 in three-point percentage. So to everybody who said that the Knicks can't shoot, the Knicks don't shoot, the Knicks can't shoot, you're wrong. We definitely are shooting the ball really well from three. Now, from two-point range, that's where the struggle has been. Because last year, we were a really good two-point shooting team. And this year, we kind of fell off the map with the two-point shot. Before I get the two-point shots, let me just do this. Let me stick with the three-point shot. So last year, we were ranked 23rd in the first 10 games. We were 23rd with only 34 attempts. And we did make 12 threes. No, I'm sorry, we did make 13 threes, which put us at 12. And we always shot a good percentage. So last year, we shot 38.5%. This year, we shooting 38.5%. Ain't that interesting? So the percentage is the same, but the attempts went up. That means that we're shooting a lot better this year. And what I might also do, I think I'm going to go to last year in the basketball reference, just so I could give you the full year totals as well. So we could compare how we started, how we finished, and where we are now. Okay? Linking the past with the present, and hopefully praying that the future will be a lot better. All right, especially with this Jalen Brunson news that I'm really happy about. Last year we finished shooting 37% from three, which was 8th, but we were still in the bottoms in attempts and in makes. Okay, so those things caught my eye. The three ball definitely caught my eye. But let me get to the 2-point shot. The 2-point shot, we were definitely one of the better teams in 2-point percentage. Last year we started top 10 with 50. Pretty much just under 56% from twos. This year, we're 52% from twos. And I'm trying to understand why. I kind of understand the drop off. I don't think we prioritize two-pointers like that. We're just either going to the paint or we're just, taking threes. And I don't think we're really maximizing our capabilities in the mid-range. And that's why Yabu is struggling. I'm going to talk a little bit about Yabu later, but it's hard for him to get going because he's somebody who operates in the mid-post, right? And so when he doesn't get the opportunity to be in that mid-post, then it's going to be a struggle. Definitely going to be a struggle. But 2-point attempts are down when it was our strong suit last year. Let me go back here. Cool. The next thing that caught my eye is the free throws. Pretty much very similar to last year. We're shooting a little bit more than we did when we started in the first 10 games. We're shooting right now 22 attempts a game and 19 free throws. I'm gonna tell you the records later, a little bit later when I get to the situational records. I'll get back to that. But when we're shooting free throws at a certain clip, this team has success. But, last year free throws was a struggle. We're doing a little better, but we're still not in the top 15, which is a place I would like to see us get. But I don't know if we'll get there because we shoot a lot of threes. Last year, we finished the season shooting 20 threes a game. 20 free throws a game. So it's up a little bit. I would like to see the number go up a little bit more. But I guess it's hard when you're shooting all these threes. Another thing, too, I want to talk about is the rebounding. So last year, we were really good in opponent rebounds throughout the entire year. You can see right now, we are 15th. We are 3rd in offensive rebounds and 7th in total rebounds, getting 47.3 rebounds a game. Last year in the first 10, we was only at the 42 mark. And then to finish the season, we finished the season at the 42 mark. So we're like a +6 on the glass. And that is the Mitchell Robinson effect. Even though he's not playing that much minutes, but I think Mitchell Robinson's impact helped boost our position on the glass. Now the assists are definitely up. 28 assists a game. We averaged 27 assists last year. We finished the season and we ranked at 11th, 27.5 and 11. This year we're at 28 and ranked 8th. I know the Magic game came and might have took it down, but I'm curious to see if this trend could continue. I'm gonna tell you why a little bit later. But the assist is a little better. So the offense is a little better. Everything on the offense is a little better. Even the points. You know, we're +7 to where we were last year. Right? Last year we were at 114 points at this point. So the offense is most of the offense stats are better. Besides, only thing we're lacking in on offense is the 2-point shot. Right? We're even a better offensive rebounding team than we were last year in terms of total rebounds. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Opponent 3-point percentage, we're struggling this year defensively, guarding the 3 ball. We're giving up 39.1. I'm gonna tell you the situational record on that a little bit later. Last year, around this time, we did a little bit better. We were giving up 35% threes, but when we finished the season last year, we finished the season at giving up 36.7% threes. So 3-point defense, man, doesn't look any better right now, but it's early. Let's see what happens. As far as pace, people making a big deal about pace. Why aren't we ranked higher in pace? Well, there's multiple reasons why we're not ranked higher in pace. Well, or there's more. I'm going to say multiple reasons why. I'm going to say multiple factors in pace that people are not considering. This is why I always say it's about stats with context. So when we talk about pace, we had a 99.4, which is higher than where we were the first 10 games last year. Last year, we were last in pace to start the season and at a 95.6 clip, and we were ranked dead last to start the season. As the season went along and we wrapped up the season, we wound up finishing with a 96.7 pace, but that only put us at 24th in the league. So even though this is a short sample size, we are playing faster. The Knicks are playing faster than they did last year. It's a fact. They're doing it on less dribbles. We're averaging more passes. We're averaging about 310 passes a game, which is 30 more than we averaged last year. We averaged about 280 passes, right? So I'm saying that to say, when they say they don't see us playing at a fast pace, that's not true. We are playing faster. But Alan Hahn even broke this down on the MSG broadcast, that the offensive rebounds is killing us. Because usually you don't see a team, well, in field goals, I wouldn't say we're shooting the lights out. So that's probably why the offensive rebounds is high. But we are shooting a great percentage from 3. Usually good shooting teams don't crash the glass well. But, you know, we're doing it. And because we're getting so many rebounds, they count the offensive rebound as the same possession. So now when you get the rebound, you don't get another possession. So it slows down the pace according to analytics. So just some technical aspects there, just how pace is calculated. All right. And there's more, but I'm gonna move forward. All right. So that's some of the rankings. Just comparing where we were last year. Okay. So now I'm gonna talk about some impact stats. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Brunson and Towns. Now I'm keeping track of well over 50 stats. Right. You got it. Listen, y'all. This right here, the 82 nights. You're gonna get access to everything, of course, because I want to move fast and I don't want this show to go on forever. I'm not gonna go through all 50 stats, but I'm gonna go through some of the key stuff that I found that I feel like is very important, measuring exactly where we are right now. All right. Let me see how I am on time. Okay. Okay, we good timing at the halfway mark. Trust me, I'm not going to drag this out for too long because one is a stat show and it could be overwhelming. But at the same time, if you are a hardcore fan, I'm going to steer you in the right direction. All right. So impact stats, Brunson and Towns, when both score 20 plus, the Knicks are 5-1. When both score under 20, the Knicks are 2-2. So this is why I salute Jalen Brunson, because salute the captain. Because recently he has been trying to find ways to get Towns involved. If you watch the last 5 to 6 games, you'll see sometimes Brunson doesn't even look to shoot the ball in the first couple of minutes of the game, because during that stretch, that's when Towns is there, and the goal is to get Towns going, right? The goal is to get Towns going. And so when Towns is balling and Brunson, because Brunson's going to get his. When the two of those guys are balling, the Knicks have great success. Great success. But when they get under 20, that's when it becomes a fight. So I'm hoping to see more two-man game from these guys, because both of these guys are just terribly hard to defend. But if they could master that two-man game, they'll be virtually unstoppable. Let me keep it moving. There's more. So Brunson's solo. So some solo stuff. To all my Brunson dribble. Oh, Brunson just dribble. Let me move my camera over here. Bam. I gotta make sure the camera's not blocking the stats, y'all. But Brunson dribble. Brunson's doing it on less dribbles, right? We know that. When I last checked it, I don't track Brunson dribbles. I'm not the super advanced stat guy. I'm gonna go over a bunch of them, but I'm not a super advanced stat guy, right? I like practical stuff. And also stats on the context, right? You just can't look at a stat and just cite the stat and say this guy is balling. You have to make the connection. First off, you have to understand what the stat is. That it starts there. So most of those advanced stats, I don't even bother to pay attention with them, because I don't even know how to apply it in a real context. Right? I know plus minus. I know defensive rating, right? Offensive rating. I know all of that stuff, player efficiency. All that stuff is fire, because you can use it within a context, right? Plus minus, on off plus minus, all of that. It's fantastic. But I'm giving you guys the practical stuff. So Jalen Brunson, right? Dribble. When he gets 20 or more points, the Knicks are 5-3. When Brunson gets under 20, the Knicks are 2-0. So some of you might say, oh, the Knicks are undefeated when Brunson gets less than 20 points. Yes, just to give some reference, because I this is last year. See, last year I didn't have this. I didn't have this last year, right? So this is going to replace this, right? But so last year I got it here. When Brunson scores 20 or more points, the Knicks were 29-22. When he scored under 20 points, the Knicks were 11-3. So yes, the 29-22, is not as good percentage-wise as 11-3, but they're still winning games. Like, Jalen Brunson is not going to become Steve Nash or whatever point guard. And this notion too that, oh yeah, you have to be a point guard. You have to pass the ball to be a point guard. I don't buy into that philosophy, right? I think that you have they call it the traditional style of point guard, okay, where you pass the ball. But these guys at the one today are way more dynamic than those traditional point guards, because those traditional point guards, they just running pick and roll and passing it. Now I got a guy like Steph Curry who can score 10 points in the last 3 minutes of the game, and now you lose. So the point guards today are a little bit more dynamic. I like Brunson 4.0. Brunson 4.0 is somebody that knows when to shoot and knows when to pass. And that's what we're seeing this year. They've been starting the games, except the last 2 games, getting Towns involved. But Brunson having to get the 20-plus points, and it's looking like the same trend that I got here, it's a reason for it. Usually the guys don't got it, and that's when Brunson has to take over. But look at this. So when Brunson scores 30-plus, the Knicks are 2-2. When he gets under 30, the Knicks are 4-1. Why is that? Because usually when Brunson gets 30 or more, that means the team definitely, most of the time, is a hard struggle. So Brunson has to go get his. I think I got the 30-point stat last year too. So when Brunson scored 30 or more, the Knicks were 15-7. You know why? Because he's the best closer in basketball, and usually he closes out the game. Also, when you see the 2-2, do remember that two of the times he scored 30 plus was in the losing effort, right? Because captain ain't gonna let you fold. So it doesn't mean that you can't win with him scoring 30. It's just that when he turns into to 2 years ago Brunson, he gonna go get a bucket, right? I'm gonna continue. There's more. So I think this is why. This number is like that, the 30 ball, because another stat that I keep track of, I don't got it here, is in my mock-up journal, but I don't feel like looking for it because it's buried within. But the stat that you could look at is when Brunson gets 9+ assists, does he also get 20 points? I'm gonna have that for y'all on the next Knicks in 10 show. Okay, I'll give y'all that. But that stat is here. It's in here. Okay, 82 nights. Go pick it up. Remember, you get access to the cheat code, and I'll provide the stats. So Brunson, right? Anytime he gets 9+ assists, the Knicks are undefeated. And I could corroborate this too, because I calculated it last year. So last year, when Jalen Brunson had 9+ assists, the Knicks were 15-6. So the Knicks very dominant when Brunson is passing the ball. When Brunson gets under 9 assists, the Knicks are 4-3. Okay? So the ball has to move, man. And I'm gonna get to the 30 assists, but when Brunson gets that's another stat that I track. When the Knicks get 30 assists and Brunson gets 9 assists, records. A lot of correlations you can make, but I'm gonna keep it simple for the show. When Brunson moves the ball, the Knicks get more wins. Now I want to talk about the Mitchell Robinson and Towns floor combination. Mitch and Cat hadn't played a lot of minutes together. I tracked it. I'm gonna tell y'all what the stat is on that, right? And hold on, let me just make sure I'm not missing out on my members. Okay, all right. I cook. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. And I'm moving because I don't want this show to be too long, right? But I figured out, I did the math on lineup plus minus the whole shebang. Okay, so Mitchell so when we talk about the double big lineup, a lot of you guys talk about this double big lineup, and a lot of you guys had a lot of different reasons. I just want y'all to acknowledge that the reasons that you said we should run double big lineup, Mike Brown is not doing it. Karl-Anthony Towns is a center the majority of times. So I'm going to give you the math. The double big lineup, you ready to hear how long the double big lineup played? 31 minutes. The double big lineup played 31 minutes. A whopping 31 minutes in 10 games. If you divide it into 10, because remember, we're only talking about the first 10 games. If you divide that into 10, you get 3.1 minutes a game that they're playing with each other. And Mitchell Robinson has only played 4 games during this stretch. So you can't divide it into, so you would have to divide it in 4. So it would be 31 into 4. That's what, about 6 minutes a game. 3 minutes in the first quarter, 3 minutes in the third quarter, never see them again. And their plus minus is a 32, which is really good. But they're not playing enough time together. I want to see more of the double big lineup. Why are we not getting it? So, yeah, I got the record here. And some people would look at this and say, oh, when they're together, they're 3-1. Oh, but when they're apart, they're 4-2. You know, the guys that don't like it. It's the same. It's the same record. You know why? Because you don't have a sample size. So I don't want to hear about the double big lineup unless we see it more. So I am tracking the double big lineup. So once again, go get this. So you can see that and more. But there's no evidence to corroborate unless you want to use that plus 32, but the plus 32 is incomplete. 31 minutes is not enough. Hold on. Let me make sure. Okay, did that. Karl-Anthony Towns, did that. Okay, cool. I doubled up on the slide. So now we're gonna talk about some of the trends, right? Through game 10, right? How am I looking? Okay, we moving. So these are some of the trends through games 10, okay? Now I gotta move my camera. So this is our record versus the competition, okay? So anytime we play against 500 plus teams, 500 and above teams, we're 2-3 during this stretch, okay? 2-3, and we know that those 3 games, those 3 losses came on the road, and we lost to Milwaukee, Chicago, and who was the other team? Milwaukee, Chicago, and Miami. Oh, yeah. How could I forget about them? Oh, I can't wait to see them on Friday. So we lost to those 3 teams, and they added to the revenge tour, so we'll get them back. But we're 5-0 against below 500 teams, right? We crush them. And honestly, I think that that's the blueprint. A lot of you guys want us to get the 60 wins and all that stuff. I don't know if that's possible, but we can still get into that mid-50 range club. The only way for us to get into that mid-50 range club is we will have to continue to dominate below 500 competition. Anytime we see these guys on the schedule, you know, it's food. We got to treat it like it's food. So, and if I compare this to last year, first 10 games. So last year, first 10 games, we were 3-1 against below 500 teams, and we were 2-4 against above 500 teams, 500 and above teams. So better than last year. All right. Better than last year. So we're off to a good start, even though that game, yeah, I know we're not going to talk about it, but yeah, I get it. I get the concern. So here's some more stats, and this is when we get into the stat tracker in here. All right. So the leading, trailing, third quarter, all of these stats are in here. I'm giving you a couple. So anytime we lead, we're leading after the third quarter, we're 6-0. Third quarters are important. I'm going to really be monitoring this because last year it was DRMD. I'm going to get to what that is in a second. This year it's leading after the third quarter. And honestly, this might have been last year too. I didn't track this stat last year. I didn't track it. So I'm tracking it this year. And then when we're trailing after the third, we're 0-1, right? When we're leading after the first quarter, we're 5-1. So first quarters and third quarters, to me, are very important. This actually, in that Memphis game, us winning the first quarter in dominant fashion, getting the 42 points, is the reason why we won the game, because the Grizzlies outscored us in the second half. So getting off to that strong starts, and I'm curious to know what our record was last year. I'm pretty sure it was probably bad, last year in terms of trailing, a lot of more trailing. Because look, anytime we trailed after the first quarter, that's where all our losses came from. We were 2-3. In every single game we lost, right, on the road, we were down in the first quarter. So first quarter, third quarter, very important stat. I'll keep you guys abreast of that. And if you want to keep yourself abreast to it, you go get yourself the 82 Nights Journal, because this is where I'm reading from. Okay. All right. Now in NBA Cup games, when we look at the special tracking category, we're 0-1. We lost to Miami, but we're going to get them back. We're 1-0 on the revenge tour. The revenge tour is when we beat a team that beat us. So we beat Chicago, and, we looking to come back and strike. Now, DRMD, dominating the rebounding matchup, which is a phrase that I kind of coined, is a stat that was very pivotal for us last season. Now, I'm gonna give you our total record last year in DRMD. So last year, when we finished, when we out rebounded the opponent, we were 35-10. So right now, we're 6-2. And this team, I went over the rebounds. If you just joined, this is the Knicks in 10 show, stat-based show. I'm in members only mode right now. So if you are a member, you have a question, you could ask it. Definitely. I'm also reading from this, the 82 Nights Club. Go order yours now. So I'm going through some of the stats that are in here. And so when I talk about DRMD, I think that this stat will be probably important again, because now Mitchell Robinson, his impact on the glass, we're a +6 right now, or +5 point something more rebounds this year than we did last year, even though we still have the same level of dominance of keeping the opponent off the glass, which is another skill in itself. So anytime we win the rebounding matchup, we're 6-2. When we lose the matchup, we're 0-1. Okay? And so rebounding is a priority. And I think it will continue, especially with Mitch there. But the key thing about it is Mitch played 4 games. Mitch played 4 games, and we still dominated the rebounding matchup in 8 games. Salute to the Knicks, man. It's showing me that we're resilient. And I think you're going to see some resilience with the few games that Brunson's going to miss. I think you're going to see a resilient Knicks team persevere, strive and drive. Thrive and strive, or strive and drive. I'm trying to be like Walt Clyde, man. I'm trying to do my Walt Clyde impression. Okay, so let me keep this train moving. All right. Oh no, I'm about to skip. Let me not skip this. 3-point shooting is important. So look at 3-point shooting. 37.5. That's like kind of like league average. That's why I have some of these numbers. Like, especially so when you get this journal, you're gonna see a lot of the same. I mean, a lot of like weird numbers. The reason why those numbers are there, the 37.5%, is because that's the league average. So I'm tracking to see how the Knicks do when we shoot above average. So anytime the Knicks shoot anytime the Knicks shoot 37.5% or greater than 37.5% from 3, we are 6-1. When we get under that mark, we are 1-2. These stats are correlating, because I'm gonna tell you what it was last year. Last year we were 35-10 when we hold on. Nope, wrong stat. Let me get it back. Hold on. Oh, I just got 40%. I didn't keep track of 37%. I could tell you the 40% mark. So anytime, well, that's not fair. When you get over 40%, that's a whole different stat. So I didn't keep track of this stat last year. I only did 40% last year, which is cool, but we'll keep track of it from now on. So these are some of the special tracking categories. These are stats that I think are the most important. We're going to keep an eye out on these, all right? So, and now I'm going to get into the opponents, all right? So, opponent free throws. Anytime the opponent shoots, you know what? Hold on. Before I do that, let me, because I want to give some more stats. And I know I purposely did that because I'm like, they got to get the journal to get that, but I'm feeling good tonight, man. I'm feeling a good mood, even though the Knicks lost. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you a couple of more stats. So the league average is around 22 free throws a game, 21.7 free throws a game, right? So this is what I track. Greater than, less than 21.7 free throw attempts. Anytime the Knicks go north of that number, right? Right now, we're 4-3. So not a real direct correlation in attempts. And right now, we're 3-1 when we shoot under that mark. I think the reason why we're 3-1 when we shoot under that mark is because we shoot a lot of threes. But I'm gonna tell you the makes. So when we shoot greater than 17.6, or when we make greater than 17.6 free throws, I'm gonna tell you what the record. So we're 4-1 when we eclipse that 17.6 mark. When we go under that mark, we're 3-2. Once again, I think 3-2 is because we shooting the lights out from three, but the 4-1 shows you the value in getting to the line. Knicks need to continue to prioritize getting to the line. Just wanted to give you those two extra stats. I wasn't going to give you that, but I seen it on the opponent's slide, so I just wanted to give you our side. So I'm going to talk about the opponents real quick, some important opponent stats that I think is major. Right now, if the opponent attempts greater than 21.7 free throw attempts, we're 2-3. Okay? So we got to keep these guys off the line. That means defending without fouling. When the opponent gets more than 27 point, I'm sorry, when the opponent, no, hold on, I got it mixed up. Let me go back. Let me start from the beginning. I mixed it up. So when the opponent attempts more, right? I did say that, so I got that right. It's just the second part I got wrong. When the opponent attempts more, we're 2-3. When they attempt less, so that means we're doing good and we're not putting them on the line, we are 5-0. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Now we're getting ready to play. Well, we played Orlando. You've seen how that game went. I'm not talking about the Orlando game, but look at how much free throws they got in the Orlando game. This is what we're doing on average, and this is what we need to look out for. So when I watch the game, I'm looking at numbers because the reason why, the numbers tell the story, and this is why I do the Knicks in 10 show. Let me keep it moving. 3-point percentage. When the opponent shoots, and remember, last year we struggled with 3-point defense. 3-point defense was a major struggle last season. I could give you the last year mark on that. So anytime the opponent shot 30, it's funny, I calculated the opponent 37.5. I just didn't calculate the Knicks. But anytime the opponent shot more than 37.5%, we were 15-1. Three ball is a major problem. So right now, we're 3-2. I mean, the opponent shoots more than 37.5%. When we hold them and we defend the 3-point line, look at the record. We're 4-1. So all of these things are important. My bad. Let me just move this. I got to be mindful of the camera. My fault. So now you can see it. Right? You can see the top. But the numbers tell a story, man. And I keep track of so many numbers. Like right now, certain stats, there's no real correlation. But some stats, hella impressive. hella like not impressive, but hella interesting because they definitely tell you a story. Just trying to look at where I'm at, make sure I'm good on time. All right, cool. So yeah, we getting near the end anyway. So before I get to the grades, there's some more stats I want to touch on. You're not going to be able to see it, so I'm just going to read it off. So I'm going to get into the player grades next. And if you are a channel member and you're in the chat, you can start putting your grades in there and telling me so we're going to grade the players to see what they, how you rate their performance thus far. But I'm in the wrong section. Get out of here. Let me go back out. I'm going to go to this year's Knicks in 10. And I'm going to tell you some stats that I noticed, right? So, you know what? I could get it on the screen. Hold on. Let me not be lazy. Not lazy. It's just that, it's a lot of work. Salute to my man, Michael Server in the building. Yo, you are a real vampire, Michael. You are a real vampire, man. I'm not sure how long you was here for, but hold on, my laptop about to die. Don't want to lose the stream. Let's see. Going to research mode. Man, definitely hit that subscribe. You like that cool little pop-up when I go into research mode? Yeah, hit that subscribe button, man. If you're listening, you still could, it's in members only mode, but you guys can still subscribe. You guys can still can still support the show. Okay, so I want to show you guys the points. Okay? And the stats, right? This is what I'm going over. So at least you can see some stats on the screen. At least, you're not going to see without, the connection I'm making, but you could listen to it, okay? So OG Anunoby, who's playing good basketball right now, he's +2 on points from last year, right? He's also up. I think he's up in steals as well. And he's just playing phenomenal. I mean, if he can continue to play well and shoot efficiently, he should be an all-star. Towns is -5 in points. He's down 20.2 points. He was at 25 last year to finish the season. So he also started off slow last year too. I could pull that up. And it's interesting, like how the eerie similarities that we find this year to last year. If you just joined the show, and if you go back and watch it again, some of the earlier parts of the show, you will see that a lot of the stuff is the same. It's funny. It's like patterns, the way things just work. I'm gonna tell you what Towns did in the first 10 games, right? So last year, Towns, he was averaging. Oh no, he didn't struggle. He did struggle, but midway, Brunson started to try to feature Towns more. So yeah, he was averaging 24.2, I think that was. Yeah, 24.3. So Towns was balling better up until this point last year. Now, I can't use bad because this is showing the Magic game too. So I'll just read it out because I can't even put the basketball reference on the screen because we're only looking at the first 10 games. So Towns is averaging, it's the same, 20.7. So it's the same. Numbers is not too far off. All right. So Towns is a -5. I think he'll bounce back. I think he'll get close to that 25 again. Maybe Maybe not 25 because we got a lot of firepower. You know, OG's +2, Bridges is +1, right? Josh Hart is -5.5. And I got a stat on Josh Hart too. Anytime Josh Hart scores 10 or more points, the Knicks are 4-0. Knicks are 4-0 anytime Josh Hart gets 10 or more points. Okay. So Josh Hart being -5.5, not necessarily the best thing. Mikal Bridges is a +8 on his on-court plus-minus. And Deuce is a +3 on his on-court plus-minus. And Towns is a +7. So even though Towns is -5, he's still a +7 on his on-court plus-minus. Mitchell Robinson has the best defensive rating on the team. I think it was a 104, 105. Well, let me pull it up right here. I do got it. But once again, Mitchell Robinson, he's not playing a lot of minutes. So saying that has the best stats is like, if you're playing a little sample size, only 4 games during this stretch, how do we know? Yeah, he's leading the team right now in defensive rating at a 105. Towns' defensive rating is 109. Take with that what you may. And like I told y'all, Towns and Mitch are not playing on the floor a lot. All right. Let me try to see if there's any other stats. There's more, but I want to keep the show going, so I'll just move on to the end. Now we're going to do grades. Yuri, I see you in the building. What's your grades, man? Give me your player grades. Give me your player grades. Hold on, let me put a PowerPoint. All right. What is your grades, Yuri? Oh, you said everybody's in free fall due to the JB injury? I'm going to do a video showing y'all why I should be happy. There's no reason to be free falls right now. I'm going to record that next. That's not going to be live, though. It's going to be a pre-recorded joint. So these are my grades. What are your grades? All the members that's listening to this, I'm curious to know how you grade this, all right? So I'm going to give Jalen Brunson an A-. He really should be an A because I thought that he was spectacular and he was a Nick of the Week. OG Anunoby was Nick of the Week last week. I didn't put it out. I'm going to put it out. But I give Brunson an A-. I gave Josh Hart a B- only because honestly, Josh Hart should be a C+. I'm going to keep it real. He definitely should be a C+. But the reason why I gave him a B- is because because of that stat, when he gets 10 or more with 4-0, but I don't know. Realistically, I think I might have gave him too much leeway with that. I think Josh Hart is a C+. We're going to change that. Landry Shamet is an A-. I want to give him an A, but I feel like nobody should be an A in the first 10 games of the season. All right? That's just, I just got high standards, okay? Mikal Bridges, B-. No, B. Mikal's a B. He's a B. I was thinking B-, but he's +8 on his plus-minus, man. That's a hella improvement from where he was in the last 10 games, or the first 10 games of last season. And so I'm giving him a B. I feel like his defense, everything just looks a little bit better. And I'm curious to see what his further progression will be. And to me, he's one of the best fourth options in basketball. Deuce McBride. I want to give Deuce McBride a B, but I'm going to give him a B- because his shooting is not it's not on point like that. But the reason why I'm giving them a B- is because the shooting is not where I want to see it, but I should say the scoring rather is not where I wanted to be it. But he's guarding 94 feet. He might actually be a B just for that. just for guarding 94 feet. Mitchell Robinson's incomplete. He only played 4 games. So I'm not even going to play around with Mitchell Robinson. OG Anunoby should be an A-, but I feel like he has games where he disappears. And salute to my man JJ on the call-up show, one of them shows, he called out OG Anunoby. He said, where was he? And a lot of guys don't call out OG Anunoby. Karl-Anthony Towns, I give him a B. He had to find his way in the system. He had some really dominant games. He was Nick of the night at least twice. I'm giving him a B. Jordan Clarkson, I'm giving him a C+. You may could argue he's a B-, but not consistent enough. And honestly, it probably is not his fault why he's not consistent enough, because he wasn't getting minutes like that. Now, Yabu, I was being nice to Yabu. I really could give him a C- or even a D+, but I'm giving Yabu a C because I feel like it's not all on him. I feel like Mike Brown could use him more or find ways to use him more, especially in a game like Orlando, which doesn't count towards this, but yeah. Let me see what my man Michael's saying. Despite the bad loss to Miami, Orlando, we're very good. Games were good, coached by Mike Brown. Well, I'm not talking about Orlando. This is the first 10 games. I'm not talking about Orlando tonight. Deuce may be consistent, but he's a defender. But he's a defender as hell. Okay, he's a good defender. Okay, I'm just going to assume that's what you're saying. But he disappeared on the offense a lot. Yeah, sometimes he disappears. That's the only reason why I gave him the B-. But to be honest, he should be a B because guard 94 feet is hell of impressive to me. And then oh damn, hold on, y'all. My bad. What am I doing? I'm slipping. I'm falling. Hold on. All right, bam, we back in business. So this is the biggest storylines from games 1 through 10. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but Jalen Brunson 4.0. I think that he's knowing when to shoot, when to pass. I think that he's excelling at making guys better around him, trying to get guys shots. Towns adjusting to his role, right? And then even Mike Brown making adjustments for how a center or a power forward acts. So like in preseason, Towns was in the corner. When the season started, Towns is at the top of the key. But once again, he's only played 4 games with Mitch, and they only played 31 minutes together. So, I mean, but yeah, I think Towns would be fine. And like I said, Mitch and Cat, limited sample size. I don't want to hear no plus and minus and net rating about Mitch and Cat. Please don't. Strong performances versus the weaker teams, right? But mixed results against the above 500 teams. We got to do better against the 500 and above teams. We got to do better. Defeating the Cavaliers after being swept. I mean, hey, man, that's a major win because if we would have lost to Cleveland, could you imagine the narrative? Beating Julius Randle and Dante, yes, that's always going to be an interesting moment in time. 7 straight home wins. Incredible. And then of course the noticeable rotation decisions from Mike Brown having to make that adjustment. How many of you guys remember when Mike Brown had to make the adjustment? He was playing too many guys. But listen, everything you've seen in this presentation, you pretty much could write in this journal. I added some things to it because, just to make it a more of a show. But this journal has, let's see if I can show y'all. Y'all might not be able to see it. Let me jump out of here. Definitely hit that subscribe button. I like when that pop-up pops up. And make sure you hit the like button. Also hit that bell icon so people get the notification. But this whole show I did came from this section here. This is it right here. You might not be able to see it. The 10-game review. 10-game review. Okay? that's pretty much it, y'all. I think I'm done, man. I think I hit everything on the head. This was a good show. Salute to y'all. Did it in an hour's time. Salute to my man Michael. Let me see what you're saying on the way out. Good defender, but he disappears on. Okay, that's the last thing, man. I want to thank you guys for rocking with me. I know this is super late. My bad. I should have did this earlier, but it's okay. On the way out, I'm just gonna talk briefly about the journal. You get to thisweekinsidethenix.com. If you're a channel member, right, you get an additional 20% off this price here. And look, this journal right here, which I have in front of me, right? Pretty much it is what you're seeing on the show just now. You're gonna be able to document all that stuff. You're gonna be able to track all things that take place in the season for your team, from the biggest storylines to stats to game notes to players to watch. I mean, this journal is so powerful, and it's basically what I do on a regular basis, because this is what I was doing. And then I just took that and made that this. And then now I want to give you guys the opportunity to also be able to capture the moments. It's literally a basketball fan's companion. I say don't leave home without it, because it's going to be your go-to guide to figure out or reflect on what happened. That's why all I do is I just open this up and I go to my stats, and I'm able to just off the top of the head recall it. I'm still working out. This is the mock-up. So I'm still at it. I'm still working on the mock-up right now. And it's a powerful journal experience. And you like I said, when you get access to the 82 Nights Club, which is an online resource, you're going to see all the stats that I just showed you and more. You're going to see all those stats. You're going to see the cheat code section. That's what it's called. That's where all the stats are going to be found at. All the add-ons. It just comes with a lot, bro. I mean, it's 12 components to this journal that from the 82 nights game list and scores. So you have the whole season in front of you, which is basically something that looks just like this. And all you have to do, go to This Week Inside the Knicks, get your journal, get your strat tracker. I have video tutorials for every element in this journal. I have how-to explainers, every element. So you're going to be able to use this. Even a 5th grader could use it. Okay? Go there now. It's also, it has this fire look to it. It's like, this is a nice little coffee table, item. You know what I'm saying? And holidays are here, gifted to somebody. And also, this is not a Knicks journal. This has nothing to do with the Knicks, right? Any NBA team, you can use this, all right? So that's that. I want to talk about the channel membership also before I get up out of here. Now, I didn't change the names yet, but the names are changing. The starter Knicks fan will become the hardcore Knicks fan, okay? Hardcore Knicks fan will become hardcore Knicks fans plus, okay? Now, I forgot to, damn, I'm slipping. My bad, HRM. I forgot to do this. On Monday, I'm supposed to do a test. I might have to reschedule that to another day. But on Monday, I have a playback account. So if you're on playback, definitely follow me on playback. Let me see if I can get it really quick. Let me go to the playback app. I keep forgetting to do this. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because my channel membership comes with a lot of perks, right? Additional content and more. Hold on. I'm trying to find this so I could put this in the chat. And I might even I'm gonna put this in the description as well. I got too many apps on my phone. Am I blind? Playback. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got it. I got too many apps. So I'm gonna put this link in the chat. Hopefully, I could find it easily because sometimes these apps. I gotta create an event. Okay, I'm gonna create the event too. Let me see. Oh, I could go live right now. That's cool. That's so cool. But how do I want to share it? Man, yeah. Sorry, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. Trying to. Okay, I think I'm here. I think I'm here. So I'm gonna share this with you guys. I'm gonna put this in the chat. All right. So let me put this in the chat. I'm gonna do it from my phone. And follow me on playback or join my room or I don't know how this thing works. But that's the link. Whatever it is, just join the link. Get up in there. All right. So on Monday, if I keep that date, and I think I might, because we play against Miami. So we're gonna watch the game together on playback. If you are a channel member, you could be able to, because I get a certain amount of like guests I can invite. So you can come and on the stream, watch the game, and even be on the panel, and we could watch the game together. So we're gonna be, I'm adding that to the fold for channel members. So that's why I'm here. So these things are gonna change, right? But so that's one cool perk. We also got the Fantasy Basketball League. Salute to all you guys that's a part of the Fantasy Basketball League. Of course, I'm killing it, even though HIM, he said something earlier talking about he's taking the lead. See, young Grasshopper, it's a weak matchup. So tonight, I only had 2 guys. Tomorrow, the full gauntlet. Anyway, so yeah, we have the Fantasy Basketball. Then we also got the Discord server, the Knicks Tape Madness Discord server, where we have great conversations, 24/7 Knicks chat. We talk about all things sports. We even got a video game section. I mean, it's a great place to be, man. When you join the channel, if you feel the vibes, you feel in the conversation, you want to extend the connection with me, become a member, join the Discord. We get to there. All right. Of course, we got the members only live chats like tonight. This is an example of a members only live chat. Members only content. I mean, I got all types of videos, unfiltered thoughts. All you gotta do, go to the membership section. I got like 27. I think we up to 27. 27 unfiltered thoughts. Go watch it. It's a lot of members only content. Even me hooping. I got the Objective Fan Hoop series. I did 14 episodes. So knock yourself out. And I'm just letting you know, that last episode of the Objective Fan Hoops, it got kind of spicy. It got a little spicy. But then of course, members get shouted out. And then the members do get discounts. 20% off. Members get 20% off. This right here. Right? And then, of course, this merch behind me. I will be adding more pieces, but right now I'm pushing this, but I will be adding more merch as well. So it's a lot of ways to support the channel. Definitely hit that join button. I want to thank y'all for rocking with me. To all the people who stayed here, even if you didn't chat, but if you just was listening, hopefully you guys, see where we are as a team. And I'll be tracking this all year. And this is what I do every day here. I also got one I'm doing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm watching them heavy. I'm following. I would love to watch every Cleveland game, but if I can at least watch 40 to 50 Cleveland games, because I want to study them and I want to master them. Like I saw the first half tonight, because they got smoked by Toronto, but that's a whole nother topic. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. I'm gonna record this Jalen Brunson video. And then there's more stuff I got to do tonight. But that's all I got for you folks, man. And until next time, as always, let's go. Yeah.